Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be talking about 5 underrated heroes that I really like right now. These are 5 heroes that I think a lot of people just don't have their eyes on because they're either off meta or just kind of weird heroes. But all of them have very strong win rates, at least either in the pro scene or in your average pubs. And so yeah, I'm excited to talk about these 5 heroes. A bunch of them are universal heroes that I think can be abused because of that, and yeah, let's get into it. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the gameleap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the gameleap website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. Alright, so the first one I want to talk about is actually Marcy. The interesting thing about Marcy to me is this hero's ability to be flexible from role to role, because I think this hero is decent as a support and a core. However, the main thing I want to talk about is core Marcy. What I really like about core Marcy is the Aghanim Scepter. If you don't know what Aghanim Scepter does on Marcy, it basically lowers the cooldown on your ultimate by 20 seconds, that's the first part, and what's nice about that is it goes from a 60-second cooldown at max to only 40 seconds, and the duration is 16 seconds, meaning the downtime is only 24 seconds, right? That's practically nothing. Your ulti is, you can potentially get 2 of them off in a team fight if the team fight lasts long enough, right? 40 seconds really isn't that long. But then from there, what's really cool about the Ags is it causes the pulses to silence. So how this hero works is when you hit them with the last strike, so let's say you have 5 strikes, right, at level 3 unleash. When you hit the 5th time, you will unleash a pulse, and that pulse will silence for 1.5 seconds. There are 1.5 seconds in between your attacks, so you will not be able to perfectly chain silence as far as I'm concerned. However, what I can tell you guys is it's very close to a perfect chain silence. And on top of that, when you buy Ags, all of your other abilities also silence. And what this also means is that when your abilities are cast, it unleashes a pulse, which not only does 150 damage per ability at max level, which is really significant, right? I mean, that's gonna help you kill people. It also means when you rebound on someone, you're gonna unleash a pulse. That's gonna help silence the backup. When you dispose then someone, that's going to also silence them again, so you're keeping them disabled for a long period of time. Then when you click your ult and you click your sidekick, you're also pulsing and silencing them again, and then you're gonna probably have a basher and you're gonna bash him after that. You can see the point, right? It's crazy, right? This Aghanim Scepter, he was buffed, right? It was just hard buffed to make what used to be a level 25 talent just part of the Ags. So it's really significant. And another thing people forget is Marcy is a universal hero, right? This is a hero that, well, it simply is very good because you can buy a ton of stats and do a lot of damage. This is great on Marcy because of 2 reasons. I think in the laning stage, you go circlet, circlet, branch, 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 tangos, and then you have a ton of damage, really high base damage, good deny damage, high attack speed because of the fact that you have all stats, high attack speed to be used with sidekick. Then you're going to turn those circlets into bracers. That's going to give you a little bit of sustain that you need. Maybe you can turn one of them into Wraithband, which isn't bad because the attack speed and armor is good on her, right? The attack speed's good with the sidekick, but I think bracer is good just to help you deny in the lane, because you kind of just want to sit in the lane as long as you can. That's the goal with Marcy. From there, you honestly can go Vanguard if you're playing something like offlane. If you're playing safe lane, you can kind of aim for a Battle Fury build. That's fine. Like a Battle Fury BKB into Ags is totally good, definitely viable, then into like a Basher and a Blink. But if you're playing offlane, you can go Vanguard and you can just be this wall in the lane, this really obnoxious hero that sits in the lane, and you can be any other melee offlaner. And then yeah, you're gonna scale really well from there. You can go Phase Boots. After Phase Boots, you can go Armlet if you want to hit really hard. If you need a BKB, go BKB. And then from there, you buy an Aghanim Scepter whenever the time is convenient. Whenever you completed, your Armlet or your BKB, depending if you need an early BKB, yeah, you can then go into Aghanim Scepter. And I'm telling you guys, this Ags, well, first of all, it gives you more damage than it used to because you're a universal hero. So instead of getting 10 damage, you get 21 damage from it. I mean, that's a huge jump. It's 11 damage, and when you're striking constantly, that's going to add up and help you get kills, and then you simply just get the value of the extra pulses. So it's a really cool build. You become like a utility hero almost, because keep in mind, these pulses are AoE, so it's not like you're just silencing one guy, you're silencing everyone in the fight. All right, moving on to the second hero is Winner Wyvern, who has a really high win rate in high-level pubs, at least on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, but the win rate doesn't necessarily reflect in average pubs. So I will admit, guys, I think Wyvern's great. I think he's very powerful. However, I think he definitely is hard. Very hard, but he has high payoff. This hero, when understood correctly, just does so damn much. And I actually think, I will admit, I think Wyvern Core is much better than Wyvern Support. The reason why I'm not a huge fan of Wyvern Support is I think this hero is incredibly level dependent and actually wants to have a lot of farm. Because if you have a lot of farm, you can get a lot of value out of Arctic Burn. The more heroes you can apply it to, the more damage you're going to do. On top of that, you can hit from really far away and you're a universal hero. So as you continue to buy stats and level up, your hero just gains a ton of damage, right? This is a pretty common trend, but it is what it is. The meta, it's somewhat is favorable towards universal heroes due to the fact that by buying stats, something like a Dragonlance, a later Aghanim Scepter, bracers in the laning stage, these items are just going to give you more damage. And we actually saw Zai play this. He picked it in a game. He was like 0-3. It was crazy. He was not having a good game at all. Well, his Doom was getting a lot of kills. His Doom position 4. It was a Wyvern off lane, Doom 4 lane. It was quite interesting. But even though he was having such a bad game to start, the payoff was incredible. He went an Atos build. And what was really cool is he kind of did what I mentioned about Marcy, which is 2 circlets, 2 branches, tangos, and he went Blood Grenade, which I think is fine. You can just go 3 branches though. It's an extra 2.1 damage, and it's cheaper. But Blood Grenade is kind of a broken item, so hard to say. From there, he bought 2 bracers, so a little bit of sustain, good damage. And you're a universal hero, so you don't care that it gives primarily strength. From there, he bought boots and raindrops with the occasional clarity. Finished off a wand to help out his stats, and just because wand raindrops broken. Took the oculate bracelet for a little bit more stats, magic resistance, and some mana regen. Then from there, instead of upgrading into treads, which is what you'd expect, he bought 2 crowns, making him hit very hard, because once again, he's a universal hero, and it makes him incredibly tanky, right? He's ridiculously tanky. His whole inventory is stats. From there, he completed Atos, then treads. After that, Witchblade. And from there, at 21 minutes, even though he was 4-5, not an incredible game by any stretch of the imagination, he had like 2k HP. He got the Specialist Array as his neutral item, which helped out his damage very significantly. Love that. And he was shredding the opponents. So much utility, so much damage. So if you actually get the chance to play Wyvern mid or Wyvern offlane, I would highly recommend it. The hero does a lot. Now in terms of the skill build, if you're going to give it a shot, I don't actually recommend maxing Q, even though that might seem like what you would want to do. You should max your W so you can farm in the early game, right? So you can push out waves and hit your later timing. But I actually think your main timing is more so around level 10. You can also skip your heal. If it's like a really bad game for your heal and the enemy team is all magic damage, you can actually take stats because it makes you even tankier and it benefits you because you're universal. So that's an option as well. It's not like super OP by any means, but it's definitely an option. All right, moving on to the next hero on this list, we have techies. So this is for all you support players. Techies, I made a video on him recently on the YouTube channel, so there actually already is a video, but I wanted to put him in this underrated heroes because I think a lot of players will watch that video and say, yeah, techies is cool and all, but I'm not much of a techies player. I prefer Lich, and I prefer Bane, I prefer Wyvern, Crystal Maiden, whatever hero you prefer. But I cannot stress how broken I think techies actually is. Back in the day, guys, back in the day, techies in the lane would hit for like damn 38 or some crap. He hit for like 30. No joke. You guys know what I'm talking about. I'm sure a lot of you do. He hit for 0. And the reason why is because his spells were, well, particularly broken. So he didn't need the base damage in the lane. He had like insta explosion. That was such a bad patch. But the thing was, his right clicks weren't devastating because of the 30 damage, even though he had like 8 billion attack range. The thing is, he still has like the highest attack range in the game. He's a universal hero, which means you just buy a ton of branches, some blood grenades, and you right click for like 60 at level 2. At level 1, you hit for like 57 or something like that. I mean, it's crazy. He hits from way too far away. Sticky Bomb is too good of a trading spell. Blast Off is a great spell for getting kills in the lane. That spell's been overbuffed. I think Reactive Taser is one of the most obnoxious spells in Dota. The fact that when you hit techies, when he has the disarm buzzy thingy on him, it dispels you. Why does it dispel you? It already disarms you. Why does it need to give him movement speed, disarm you, and dispel you? This hero does too much. The proximity mines literally tell you if the enemy are smoking if you place them in the right spot. They control Roshan better than any other hero, right? Because it tells you if they're going through the twin gate, if they're smoking from the sides. There's a lot of entrances, right? So it completely protects you. It's a broken laner. It farms fast. Level 12 mines, unless I'm mistaken, one-shot creep waves, which makes no sense. Why can you one-shot creep waves on like an 8-second cooldown and you have 3 charges? Whatever the cooldown is, I don't know. The level 10 talent reduces it by 3 seconds. This hero literally does it all. It's a little bit hard to play, but it has a stun. Its shard is insane. You get to put reactive teaser on a teammate. If you have a Sven who might die to right clicks, because sometimes Sven, when Warcry ends, he can die to right clicks, you put this thing on him, it gives him a ton of movement speed, like 20% movement speed, which is a crazy number, by the way. It's a crazy number, and then when it expires, it deals 300 damage. Why does the shard allow you to, by the way, if you don't think it's that crazy, it's like, oh, it just gives it to a teammate and does some damage. To be fair, it's just a great spell. And it used to be your Ags, if that puts it in perspective. It's the shard now, it's a third of the cost. And you get it from the Tormentor in a lot of games too. The next hero is one I'm very excited to make a video about on soon, because I don't know all the numbers yet, but I'm doing some research into it. But I'd still like to talk about it in today's video, and that's Spirit Breaker offlane with Octarine Core. Just the ability to charge around like a madman. I think I talked about this hero in a recent video, so I'm not going to cover it too much, but I'm really passionate about this hero right now. I've watched a couple of replays. I'm not fully certain on all the numbers, so I'm going to figure that out and make a full comprehensive guide over on YouTube in a couple of days. Well, I guess subscribe if you're looking forward to that. And yeah, what I really like about this hero is the fact that you can play it as a core. The numbers are just great now, man. Especially as a core, how active you can get. Oof, it's brutal. And with the rifts, you can take a rift, kill a side lane, you can then TP mid, kill mid, then you can go back to your lane and then, you know, kill that lane, and then all of a sudden you rift to bottom and you just kill bottom. It's like, if you want to play really high tempo, great, you can play at really high tempo. On top of that, if you don't and you want to farm a lot, it's easier than ever to be able to one-shot creep waves to charge. It still takes a little bit. Apparently it's not that easy from what I've been told. Like, you still have to get like to a decent timing, but it's easier than ever before. And being able to one-shot creep waves in Dota, guys, is insanely valuable. Because the less time you have to spend on the wave, the better. It means you're more likely to get all the last hits, and it means you're less likely to die. And so with Spirit Breaker, if you can one-shot the wave with charge, and you have Bulldoze, you will basically never die, because you don't have to really show, and you have Bulldoze, and maybe a Shadow Blade too. It's crazy, man. And if you have Octarine, charge cooldown's like 11 seconds. Shadow Blade cooldown gets reduced. You don't have mana problems because you have an Octarine core. The cooldown on both those goes down, and you already have a talent for that. So the cooldown on both those is like 0. So you can constantly use it to charge the waves and to survive. And then your ultimate got buffed on cooldown by 20 seconds per level. And then with the Octarine, it's even better, right? It goes from a 30-second cooldown to 22.5 at max level. You're ulting twice per team fight, basically guaranteed. I mean, the numbers on this hero are so wicked. If you hit your later timing, if you can get to the point where you one-shot waves, you get complete map control. Because no matter how bad your waves are, no matter where they are on the map, you just clear wave, clear wave, clear wave, clear wave, clear wave. Like, oh, team fight breaks out. Guess I'm charging across the map in 5 seconds. And then you ult someone and you kill some support, and then you have a nullifier and you take out the Pugna, and so on and so on. But all right, moving on to the final hero. The 5th hero of this list is Undying. Undying, honestly, I think it really comes down to the shard for me. I don't think this hero is really much different. The only thing I can say is that because there are universal heroes, he's like kind of good against them, kind of, because when you steal stats from them, they do lose damage. Even though they don't lose as much as a strength hero, they still lose. So there's a lot of heroes that used to just not get any damage reduction when decayed by Undying. There's actually more now than ever, which is something to keep in mind. It's not like insane, because technically some of the old strength heroes are universal heroes, so they're like sort of better against Undying now. But at the end of the day, there are still more heroes that do directly get affected by decay in the laning stage. It's mostly important for the laning stage, and so that is something to keep in mind. I also think Undying is pretty good with some of the meta safe laners I really like. I think he's very good with Windranger, who is becoming very popular. I think he's incredibly good with Medusa. I think he's very good with Terrorblade. So I definitely think he kind of fits with a lot of the meta safe laners as well. But my favorite thing about Undying is the shard. This hero sometimes in tough games can have a bit of a tough time farming, even though decay is okay at that nowadays, ever since they changed it to do more damage against creeps. But the shard is crazy. Being able to put people in your tombstone is nuts. A lot of players are picking Undying against my Doom in the DPC, and by the way, guys, go check that out. I think a lot of people don't know that I'm playing on Team Dogchamp, and I'd love for you guys to be able to watch the games and, you know, see how I'm progressing as a player, and just overall enjoy some Div 1 Dota. So yeah, I'm playing in Div 1 NA, I'm playing on Team Dogchamp, so would love to see you guys in chat, and maybe even interact with some of you guys after the game ends in the Twitch chat. So that's just something to keep in mind. I thought I'd mention that. But yeah, a lot of teams or a lot of players have been picking Undying against my Doom. And the reason why is partially because Decay is reasonably good against Doom in the lane. I don't think it's that crazy, but it's good. It's definitely solid. And then on top of that, the Tombstone in team fights is just so good against Doom. So let's say someone gets Doom, they can just hop inside of the Tombstone, or Undying can just put them in the Tombstone, and the duration is like, I swear it's like 6 or 8 seconds. They don't have the number for some reason in the tooltip, which is a little bit bizarre, and I don't know the exact number. The point is that like nearly half of my Doom just gets burned. I played a game where I was Doom in the same scenario against an Undying, and my team was having a hard time killing the enemies, and it was so much so to the point where the soul rips and then the Tombstone shard just made it impossible to kill anyone. And then finally, the last thing to mention, like, even though I really think shard is the main selling point, at least for me, I mean, I like the hero in general. I still think it's just like a good hero. It's good laner, team fight. What I really love is its ability to play around the current Roshan pits. I think Roshan is the most important objective in Dota, outside of the early tier ones. No, that's not true. Honestly, even then, I would say Roshan is more important. Point being though, is that I really believe that Undying is probably not the best Roshan hero in the game right now, but like top 5. But in the current setup of the Rosh pits, it's just so hard to fight into Tombstone, because you have to think about it, right? It's not like the old Rosh where you could kind of come from the left, the north, the south, the right. If you're contesting Rosh, like, yes, there are multiple ramps you can take, but they all come from the same, like, what, about 90-degree angle? You can't really completely catch the enemy team off guard. I mean, you can get a good angle and maybe catch like one of them off guard, but it's very hard to get like a truly great angle, and you're definitely not avoiding the Tombstone altogether, right? It's very hard to disengage from the Tombstone if you commit to the Roshan pit fight, because it's it's a narrow area and the enemy is going to know where you are. So point being is that when you go to set up around Roshan and you want to take an early Roshan or Roshan in general, not only does Undying allow you to take the Roshan because Flesh Golem is incredible at killing Roshan due to the damage amp, the Tombstone, you place it inside of the pit so the enemy doesn't have vision. If they decide to come over and take the fight, they're fighting into a Tombstone that they can't see in the Roshan pit. If someone decides to go in and hit it, sure, that's great, but best case scenario for the enemy is that they have a hard carry that has high attack speed and can kill it, because odds are supports, the offlaner, probably can't get in there and help kill it, or it's going to be ignored and it's going to put in absolute work. So yeah, these are the 5 heroes that I think are underrated. I'm excited to make a Spirit Breaker video for you guys, so stay tuned, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, before you tune out, subscribe to the gameleap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!